Hi guys, we're doing activity 34-1 day 2. There's 3 questions for the notes again. Just like yesterday, you don't have to print them, but you do need to be writing things down to look back at. And don't worry about copying the figure perfectly, just try your best. So we're going to find the surface area of the following. We're going to show our work. Remember, surface area is the area of this surface, and this surface, and this surface, and the top surface, and the bottom surface, and all the surfaces added together is the total surface area. Instead of doing each side separately and adding them all up, because there's a lot of faces here to add up, or a lot of surfaces, we have this formula, which is 2 times, capital B stands for the area of the base, P stands for perimeter of the base, and H stands for height between the two bases. How tall is the prism? So if you look at our prism, this top base here is an octagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. And underneath, which you can't see, is also an octagon. So those are the bases, and every other side is a rectangle. That will always be true. So we have to find these 3 things, and I always want you to show your work. So off to the side, let's start with capital B. And it's nice to write what shape you're talking about. We're talking about the base, which is an octagon. Now, a lot of times I see students do this. Base 9. Because here's the base is this figure right here, and they see a 9 there on the base, and they put a 9. That is not true. B stands for area of the base, area of this figure. So the area of an octagon is 1/2 AP. And for these, you can assume that it's a regular octagon. In other words, all the sides and angles are the same. Okay, so 1/2, the apothem is 9. The perimeter is going to be, well, you're going to have to get a calculator. The perimeter of this is 12 plus 12 plus 12, 8 times, so 12 times 8 is going to be your perimeter, which is 96. Multiply that together, 1/2 times 9 times 96. We get 432. So the area of this octagon is 432. So over here, instead of B, you write 432. That's usually the part that takes the most amount of work, capital B. Next is P. P stands for perimeter of the base, which we've actually already done because it's this red part. And you've already had to find the perimeter of the base. 12 plus 12 plus 12, 8 times. 12 times 8 was 96. Height. Height is not 9. Height is not 18. Height is the distance between the two bases. So how far is it from this octagon on top to this octagon down here that you can't really see? How far apart are those? 11 is my height. Type that all in your calculator. You should get 1,920. There were no units, centimeters, inches, whatever it was, it would be inches squared, feet squared, but we don't have them. Okay, rewatch this if any part doesn't make sense, but again, you can break it down one part at a time and let me know which parts you're having trouble finding. Okay, number 2. If you want to try it on your own, you can, and then play the video, that works. Let's take a look at number 2. This is a rectangular prism. Now, with rectangular prisms, this is the only shape where you can have a different base. So let me show you what I mean going back to the last one. In this picture here, could I have had the base be this side right here? No, because if this is the base, this is not a rectangle. Remember, this could be a base, this rectangle, and the bottom rectangle, this octagon is a base, the bottom octagon is a base, and everything else is a rectangle. I'll come back to 2. Let me look at 3. You see how there's a circle here and a circle in the back, and this flattened out would be a rectangle? You always have to have that. But in a rectangular prism, I could do this. I could have this be the bottom base and this be a base. Because if you look, every other side is a rectangle. So the 15 by 4 could be my base. Or this and this side could be my base because everything else is a rectangle. So for rectangular prisms, you have more than one option, so your work may not always look like mine, but you should always get the same answer. Let's go ahead and all choose the same one. So let's choose this to be our base. I can go ahead and highlight the other one up here too. Okay, so let's show our work off to the side. The base is a rectangle, so let's find the area of a rectangle. The formula is not 1/2 AP, that's for pentagons, hexagons, octagons. We're doing a rectangle, base times height. So basically 15 times 4, which is 60. That's the area of one of these bases, and of course we're going to double it. That's why it says 2 times. Now we're working on P, which is perimeter of the base. So let's go ahead and find the perimeter. Perimeter is along the outside. That's 15, 4, 15, and 4. What does that add up to? 38. And remember, H is height. It's the height of the prism. How far is it from one base to the next? From this purple base or this red base to this red base, how far apart are they? What's the height of this prism? 6. Please, please always write the formula. Always neatly plug in these things. Type them in to get your final answer. Okay, 348 units squared. Let's try the last one. Again, this is not a prism. It's a cylinder. It's very similar, has the same formula. Let's go ahead and start with capital B, the area of the base. What shape is the base? It's not always on the bottom. It's what there are 2 of, and everything else is a rectangle. So it's got to be this circular base right there. And there's one in the back, but you just can't see it all. Okay, so let's show some work for area of the base. You might have to get a gold sheet out from last unit where we had all the area formulas. Area is pi r squared. What's my r, my radius? 5. What's 5 squared? Not 10. 25. Now I prefer to leave it like this instead of having a long decimal to write out and copying a long decimal. Just leave it as 25 pi for now. Next, we're going to do P, which is the perimeter of the base. So this is perimeter of the base. What do we call that if it's a circle? We call that circumference. So I'm going to show my work here. Perimeter of the circular base, aka we call it circumference. Kind of has a special name. Formula 2 pi r. Again, you can always pause the video in case I go too fast and you're still writing. What's r? My radius is 5. 2 times pi times 5 would be 10 pi. Again, just leave it as 10 pi. I don't need a decimal here and a decimal there. Let's just leave it as 10 pi. What's the height? How far is it from one circular base to the other? That's 18. There's almost never work for that one. It's usually always just stated. Again, you can type this all at once. Probably need to put parentheses and be really careful. Make sure you get this answer. 722.57 units squared. Look how neat and organized my work is. I have the formula and the plugged in numbers here. I have my work off to the side and it's labeled. That's how I want your work to look. Alright, go ahead and work on the homework, please.